Hello, hello.
Hey, Derek, how are you doing,
Good
sir?
morning.
Come up wherever you are.
Good morning, Derek. This is Peggy. Question for you. When you play that music, are you playing it right from your desktop or do you have a separate device that you're using to hear that in the background? I'm always curious.
Yeah, I use the search bomb. Do I have a speaker? Oh, I know what I'm hearing. uh, yes, I have Club Deck on my desktop, so search bomb is logged in on my computer, and you can upload your own music to play or sound effects or whatever, any like wave file, maybe MP3 too, and then also you can if you click custom effect, you can pull a song from YouTube or any YouTube video will play. So you could play stuff off of YouTube also. Sometimes they don't work, but yeah. I also have a board where I can like plug my phone in and other things in to use. But the way that Clubhouse, I guess Clubhouse or maybe the board, something auto regulates volumes to like make it all consistent or something with the software that it never works quite right. So the app works pretty good though. Ooh, the room ended. People are coming in.
Yes, we had a question at the last minute. It's like we're ready to leave at 3 minutes, and so it was a good nugget, though.
All good, all good. Gives me time to get all my stuff going here. Mod a few of you up and we'll get going. Natalka, Lisa, Peggy, Howard. I kept seeing Howard twice in here for some reason. Maybe it's an international thing. It like lags or something. Uh, Elisa and Renee. I think that's five or six. We'll do Laura too. You're next in line. Oh, Mia, and I can't stop at Mia. Well, now I'm gonna keep saying it. I am gonna stop because I'm like, well, I gotta do Dawn and or and Katie and Kim and Zella and Kristen because everybody's awesome. All right, four after we get started here, I think, and today should be a fairly good room. I'm kind of excited for it. These are rarely done things by people, so excited to get into this. You are in the Google for Real Estate house. Click the house above to join if you haven't already. We're here every Wednesday, 9 to 10 a.m. on Clubhouse. I'm going to start putting this other places, so I got to say on Clubhouse so people know where to go live. I'm Derek Bexler, born and raised in South Central Pennsylvania, single dad of three, commercial and residential real estate agent of 17 years, outdoor adventure sportsman, and Google marketing geek. In this room, we talk about how to dominate local search with your Google business profiles and other tools, as well as discuss other Google tools like Workspace and Maps and databases and Sheets and Forms and all the other fun stuff. Replays are available for 7 days for 7 days on Clubhouse. So today's will be available till next week, and today I'll be deleting last week's. But you can always find all the replays above on the link above your head at the top. And that also takes you to my website where you can find, if you're looking for my services or prices or something, you can find that stuff there, or to schedule a discovery call or any of that stuff. Please come up to stage. Participation is welcome and encouraged. If you know something better than me, I'm not the knower of all things, or if you have an experience with something, please chime in or ask a question. I tend to just kind of full steam ahead, do my thing. But if you need to interject or want to ask a question as I'm going, please feel free to do that. And if you or somebody you know is in a different profession or business outside of real estate, all of this stuff applies for any local type business for the most part, with some changes. Obviously, insert business here, change it up however you need to. Today, have a little bit of news, actually, kind of a big piece of news, not a lot of news, but one kind of big piece of news. Then the main topic, next level ninja tricks. So this is what you do after you do the kind of 101, maybe even after the 201, 301. This would be like 4 or 501. So this is after you've done most of the stuff that I usually talk about on a regular basis. This would be the next level stuff that you would go and do with your Google business profile. We'll do some Ask Me Anything. As usual, put your review link in the chat if you want to. That's encouraged. Give people reviews, reciprocate if somebody gives you a review. Good practice is to message the person with a screenshot of the review. So in case it doesn't show up, you've proven to them that you did give the review, and then they can give you a review. And if you send them that screenshot, now even if it doesn't show up on their Google reviews, they still have your testimonial. They still have text that you wrote that you gave permission for them to use. So they could make a testimonial post in Canva about it, or use it in some other way. So it's a good practice to send the person a screenshot of the review. Um, and after this, a reminder that Michelle Meinhardt and Diane Needle in the Real Estate from the Heart House have a cold calling room. That's still going on, right? Anybody? Mia,
Yes,
you probably
but
know.
Michelle is on vacation, so Diane will be leading it, and that's all I know.
Gotcha. Okay. So Diane will probably welcome a lot of more people showing up since Michelle will not be there to co-host or take up some of the room. Or what do they do? They actually live call? Is that what they do?
Yeah, they take turns. When I was in Aaron's room, everybody used to just cold call, and if there's somebody that really got a live one, a lot of people would listen. But Michelle and Diane just take turns so when everybody can listen.
Gotcha. That's cool. So similar to the other rooms, but it's not just everybody kind of going at once. That's cool. I've been wanting to stop in and I keep forgetting, but today I don't have anything going on afterwards, so I think I'm going to try to swing in there. I was trying to find a link, but I didn't see it scheduled unless I missed it. So you can just
Yeah, it's in real estate all day, and it's kind of hidden. It's under either Michelle or Diane, and it'll say Zoom, and it's the same link every week.
gotcha. Is it just Zoom or they do it on
No,
Clubhouse
they
too?
just do it on Zoom.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that explains why I couldn't find the link. Yeah, go to the Facebook group. Definitely the Real Estate from the Heart group. That's always
Yeah.
posted in there. Maybe the Real Estate All Day also, but definitely Michelle's group. It would be in there. So head over there. I think I might try. I'm not calling anybody, but I'm interested to see and hear or whatever. So I might swing by today if I can. All right, let's get into it. So news. They just announced, and you probably all got the email. You might be in your spam, or maybe you just ignore it, like all the other emails from Google. But you probably got an email. I got mine yesterday. You could have got it prior. You might not have gotten it yet, but I got my email yesterday that said that the chat and messaging feature is going away on the Google Business Profile, as well as the call history. And I'm actually happy about both of these things. They're both stupid. The call history, I've always said to turn off. The call history, call tracking, it would say, hey, turn call tracking on so we can track your calls and tell you information about them and when they happened and where they came from or blah, 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 whatever they tell you. But if you turned call tracking, call history on, it would mask your number with a Google Voice number, not like you get a free Google Voice number to use. It would auto generate. It would change from time to time. So they mask your number, and then that's how they would track your calls and give you the call history and everything. Ultimately, what happened to me and many other people is, well, first of all, the call tracking is not accurate for one thing, but also in masking your number, now I had people and other people had people have a number they thought was mine and then text me or call me on that number, and I'm of course not answering, and then you miss somebody because they're reaching out to a number that's not yours. Or you also would get crossed wires. You would get a John's Plumbing call, and John's Plumbing would get a call that was supposed to be for you. So there'd be wires crossed like that. So the call history, call tracking is going away. Hopefully, nothing replaces it. And I've hated that and never told everybody to turn it off. If you have it turned on, I would personally turn it off unless you purposely have it on and use it and know what you're doing with it. So call history is going away, and turn it off if you have it on right now anyway. But you got about 2 months. January 31st is when it ends, so it'll go away anyway. And then chat messaging, which will make my life a little bit easier because there was a bunch of customizing I used to do in the chat and messaging feature, but that is now going away too, apparently. And not apparently, this is email straight from Google. And I actually haven't heard anybody talk about it in any webinars or podcasts or anything. So, and I'm surprised it didn't leak out before the email came out. But the email was straight from Google. The chat messaging going away. Also, nobody uses it. If you have yours turned on, which you want to have it turned on, so you have the chat button there and people could do it, but it rarely happens. And lately, what's been happening is a lot of spam in the messaging, which is probably why they're turning it off. Nobody used it. Customers didn't really use it hardly at all. And now there's tons of spam, so it's not helping anything, and it's become a nuisance. That's how I'm seeing it. And I'm guessing maybe they have metrics that people just usually they get rid of features that aren't used or cause problems. So that going away, I think, is a good thing. And again, there was a lot of customizing in there I used to do or still do, but I guess as of today to yesterday, I'm not doing anymore, and I got to remove that module from the course. But chat messaging is going away, and it said starting July 15th, customers will no longer be able to start new chat conversations with their business from Google customers. Uh, customers in existing that didn't make any sense. Customers in existing chat conversations will be notified that chat will be phased out. So July 15th, anybody in your chat or messaging will get an email or something saying it's going away. And if you want to talk to this business, call them or whatever it's going to say. And then July 31st, the chat functionality, the messaging will just go away for good, and the call history will also go away. And if you want your chat messaging or call history, you can download it. In that email yesterday, there was a link at the bottom that said download. I think it said download, something to that effect. It was a place where you could download your information if you wanted to. I don't know why you would want to. Probably don't have anything in your messaging or call history anyway. So you could download it if you want to, but July 31st is when they officially will both go away. So that is pretty big news when main features, and that's two of the eight-ish tabs in there. There's like eight dashboard tabs, and that's two of them. So that's fairly significant, but good ones, and I'm happy to see them go away anyway. Any questions about those? They're going away, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But do turn your call history off right now if you're using that. I would. And start with some ask me anything before I get into the next level ninja tricks. Anybody having any issues or problems or need any help with anything? 5, 4, 3, cool. All right, so next level ninja tricks. These are things you are going to do after you have created your profile. Step one, you got to create your profile, verify your profile. If you're having trouble with the video, hit me up. I can help you navigate that a little bit. Or if you need to change your address, I can help you re-verify there. But step one is create your profile and make sure it's verified so that it can show to the public and you can get reviews on it and do all the enhancements to it. Then once you've created it, you optimize the crap out of it, which is all the stuff that I talk about all the time, all the stuff I teach in my course, all the stuff I do in my Done For You package. So all the things, utilizing every feature that you possibly can to its full potential and per current best practices to help you rank the best. So create it, then optimize the crap out of it. Then you need to do your ongoing best practices. So just optimizing the crap out of it does not in and of itself help you rank or get business. You still need reviews. You still need to be doing updates. You still need to add photos on a regular basis. You still need to post updates. So doing the ongoing best practices is how you're going to start ranking and the next step. And then after you have created it, optimize the crap out of it and stay on top of it, going into all your settings every quarter or every 6 months or whenever, and making sure all your settings are good. Once you're on top of optimizing it and keeping it optimized, and you're on top of all the basic ongoing best practices, which I said was reviews, adding photos, posting updates, adding products, then the next level thing that you can do that are rarely done things that you can do. I've got 10 on my list here, and I'm sure there are more, and I'll probably come up with more, maybe. But there are 10 things here, and that's a nice even number. I got lucky there with exactly 10. 10 next level things that you can do that most people do not do. But again, I would not go into all these maybe until you have those other things under control and working like clockwork. So number one, next level thing that you can do would be optimal review getting. So this one you've kind of heard me talk about before, the best way to get a review and the best type of reviews to get, or the structure of the reviews and photos and all those kinds of things. So you heard me talk about this before. I don't lump the optimal review getting, the gold standard of review getting, into basic ongoing best practices, because really I just want people to send that damn link out to as many people, anybody that'll click 5 stars and write a sentence or two, and you do need them to write something now. But in my basic ongoing best practices, I preach don't overcomplicate it. You need to just send that link out and get as many reviews as you can as easily as possible. But after you've mastered all that other stuff, then you might get into the optimal review getting, which would be the best gold standard almost of anything that can happen on your Google business profile. Actions by customers are better than you taking actions. So a review is an action by a customer. And then also content provided by customers. So not only leaving a review, but leaving a photo or adding photos and videos with that review also. Google loves that, and they tend to showcase reviews that have photos or videos. Even better if you can have them like at the buyer walkthrough right in front of the house, get their phone out, use the Google Maps app itself, go to your profile, search it out, not use the link, search out your profile, go to it, interact with it a bit, so that Google knows they interacted with it. Then they leave you a review. They take a photo with that review in app right there, like with the photo, with the house and in the background and everything, and then leave that review. That's about as good as it gets as far as something that could happen on your Google business profile. So number one would be optimal review getting. And again, that's more of a ninja thing. That's more of an overcomplicating thing. So if you haven't even gotten the hang of just sending a text to request a review every time you have a sale, or whatever, just the basic review getting, then I would not move on or complicate it more. But if you're pretty good and you're slaying and everything, maybe put that on your buyer walkthrough checklist. Exactly that. Ask buyer to pull out their phone and walk them through doing it. Um, so number one is optimal review getting. Number two, strategic bad reviews. And I guess this one could kind of be lumped in with the first one of just kind of review ninja tricks. Strategic bad reviews. And I don't know if I really recommend this, but I have heard people talk about it, and it does make some sense. But I definitely wouldn't do it unless I had lots and lots of reviews. Um, but the idea behind a strategic bad review is studies have shown that a 4.7, 4.8, 4.9 is more believable or trustworthy to a consumer than a 5.0, because a 5.0 reeks of review gating, or I'm only sending my review link to the people who are going to give me a glowing review, or I'm sending out the email that says click the number of stars for the service, and if they click 5, then it takes them to leave the Google review. But if they click the 1, it takes them to some other form that's internal that makes them feel like they gave a review, but it doesn't go anywhere. So people kind of sometimes don't trust 5-star reviews. They might trust a 4.7, 8, or 9 a little bit better. So if you just didn't have any bad reviews, you could go out and get a purposeful bad review. Ask somebody to leave you not a 1-star or a 2-star and make it terrible, but you would probably do, a 4. I probably wouldn't go below 4. And you can't do halves, but I think I would do 4 probably. And then in the review, I would make it kind of like something bad in an interview. What's a bad quality you have? And you're like, oh man, I'm just so detail oriented. A lot of times I'm just too detail oriented and worried about making sure everything's perfect and done right and that kind of thing. So a bad thing that's kind of not really that bad of a thing. So maybe the review is 1 star less, and in the review it kind of pull notes something that they didn't like in kind of a sideways way like that. So a strategic bad review you could do. Again, I'm not sure I would recommend it. I definitely wouldn't do it if you didn't have a lot of reviews. If you do have a lot of reviews, um, you could do it. You could figure out your average, because obviously, if you get 1 star away, if you only have 5 reviews and you get a 4, that's going to bring your average down a lot. But if you have 70 reviews and you get 1 or 2 bad reviews, it's not going to bring your average down. You might have to do more bad reviews to bring it down to a 4.9 or a 4.8 or whatever. So, a strategic bad review, I'm not sure. That'd probably be one of the last things I would do on this list, probably. But it is something that people talk about, or you could do if you wanted to. And definitely don't give somebody else a bad review with the intent of helping them that way, unless you've talked to them and they've agreed that that's okay. Because that has happened, because people have heard me say that a strategic bad review can be okay. But it's kind of jarring when you get it. So talk to the person first if you're going to do that. Number 3, a 360 video. This is never utilized. I don't think I've ever seen a business ever utilize this. I'm sure there are ones that do it, but I've never seen one. So if you have a physical location, you can actually, kind of like Zillow, you can order or hire a Google certified photographer to come out and do a 360 video and photos of the interior, both the exterior and the interior of your business. So this would be awesome for anybody, especially any of you broker owners, or even if you're just a manager, or give the idea to the agency or something. Um, or I guess an agent could do it too if you had your profile located at your office. I don't see why you couldn't, as long as the broker was okay with it. But you would go to, I think it's Google Street View. I've got a video on it. If you went to the video bank on my website via link above, there's a video bank there, and I think it's called Google Street View or 360 View or something. There's a video, and then on the video comments, there's a link to it. But it's in Street View, and then you can order the video for your business. You can also get certified. So if you had a photographer and they wanted to get certified, they could. And then it's just like Zillow. Also, there are select cameras. A list of 8 different cameras that you can use to make the 360 videos and content. So a 360 video or photos too. And then they get added via Google Street View in a kind of a special different way. But then you have 360 imagery of your business, could be both outside and inside, that nobody else. I've never even, I don't even know what it looks like, to tell you the truth. If somebody had 360 stuff of their interior, I don't. I don't think I've ever seen a profile or clicked or viewed it. Obviously, I've seen the exterior, because Google gives you an exterior by default. It's not some showcased one staged the way you would do it perfectly, but I've seen that on the outside, so I know, kind of what it would look like. But I've never seen a business actually do it themselves that I've noticed. So 360 video, and it would probably cost. I think I looked into it, and there was one within like an hour. There was a photographer within an hour or two of me, and I think it ended up being 300 or 500 bucks, something in that range. So not crazy. And if you own the brokerage and you had a Google business profile, which you should for said brokerage, I would definitely do it. I think it would be a great investment. And why not do it? And nobody does it. So 360 video, you can add to a physical business if you have a physical office. Number 4, add FAQs in Q&A. Basic optimization. I don't do a lot with the Q&A section. The Q&A section is meant for customers to come along, ask you a question on the Google business profile, and then you answer that question, and then those questions and answers are sitting there for the next person to come and look at, kind of as an FAQ bank. It never happens. Trying to get people to ask you a question to then answer back is like pulling teeth. It's even harder than getting reviews. They don't know what you're talking about. They don't even know that feature exists, yada, yada. So it's really hard to get any consumers to do it. So what I've heard a lot of people say they do, a lot of other agencies and gurus or whatever, and I've done it. I don't do it by default on everybody's profile. I kind of put a placeholder in there. But the next level thing you could do with your Q&A section is actually use it as an FAQ bank. So you can ask your question and then answer your own question. So you can just put a bunch of FAQs in there, and you could use Chat GPT or something like that. Google does not hate AI, and it's not going to block your profile because you've used text from AI. They even have integrations like in the description where you can use Gemini to draft your description for you. So there's nothing against that. I would obviously read them and rewrite it as needed and edit and revise or whatever and make sure it's correct also. But adding FAQs in your Q&A section is a next level thing that most people do not do. I would not do anything time sensitive. So I would not do questions like, what does $500,000 get me in your area? Because if somebody comes along 2, 3 years from now and reads that answer, it's going to be wrong. And sure, you could date it and they might see the date of the question or whatever, but it's not good information to have up there. It's not relevant to the consumer later in time. So I would have it be more evergreen stuff, things like, what are things I need to know about moving to the blank area? Those kinds of things. What are the steps in buying and selling a house, maybe? What does it take to stage a house? Those kinds of things. And if there are actual questions that people are asking you a lot, obviously I would use those as the first FAQs. That's kind of how I come up with videos I do. They're either updates or news things or questions that people are just asking me all the time. So add FAQs in the Q&A section. Ask a question and then answer your own question. Number 5, well, let me stop there. Any questions or comments or anything on those first 4? Anybody ever done the 360 video? I'm guessing not.
No, but I fully intend on doing that. I think that's a great idea. And I also don't know why I haven't done like a montage of clips of indoors, outdoors, all the things, just with all the tools that we have, just do a montage of your complete office in and out. If we're doing it to verify our business, why not do it and then have that be in there? But can I ask you about that negative review situation?
Sure.
You, I've heard and I've seen where if there were no words, it disappears. And yet, and I'm going to say a bot put a 2-star review on mine not too long ago, and there's no words. There's no other reviews given. I reported it. Google hasn't taken it down. Hasn't taken it down because I reported it, but also because there are no words. So, in strategically trying to figure out, I didn't respond to it because I don't know this is a live thing, and I didn't want to give it life, so to speak. But in what you just spoke about, you're making me think about it differently. I'm trying to figure out to wait it out until it goes away or to work with it with what it is and see what to do with it. What would you suggest to say to somebody you don't know, didn't have any business with? There's really nothing there to respond to except for the 2 stars.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Your approach, I think, is the right one. Do not validate it. Try to fight it first off. And it could be a day. You could never hear back. You could hear back 3 months from now if it happens. You could
Right?
not hear back, but it disappears. You could, all kinds of things could happen. And it is a thing that reviews without text are now, um, old ones could be removed and new ones may not show up either. I don't know if that has officially taken effect, but that's something people were talking about was happening. So yeah, I think your approach is right. Try to get rid of it. Maybe wait it out a little bit. A little bit meaning maybe a couple of months, and
Yeah.
then after you wait it out a bit, then just respond to it. Once you're basically given up that this is going to be here and I can't get it off of my profile, then you respond to it with that, I don't know who you are, nice way. If you let me know who you are, I'd love to fix whatever the problem was or what's up. So sorry. But yeah, I would just do exactly what you said. I think is the right approach.
I am
What?
keeping an eye in case it strategically just falls away. What, because I reported it or because it doesn't meet the requirements of a review to stay and stick, because some of them don't stick. They're just disappearing. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and it seems to be happening more, I feel like, or maybe it always happened. We are just all on our review game more than we always have been, so we're noticing it more. Possibly, all I think it's a combination of the two. Possibly, it's kind of like the bad in the world. Everybody thinks the world is terrible, but actually, I think we're living in the best time ever to have lived as a human, if it when it comes to like quality of life and all the things really. So it's all kind of relative, but you hear about everything because there's a thing in your pocket that tells you everything every time something happens. I'm even getting like crime emails that I didn't sign up for around my house. Like I don't want to know when a sex offender moves, or like I just don't want to know, especially if I didn't ask for it. So um, yeah. Uh, any follow-ups to those bad reviews or anything? That's what I was gonna say. What's your total reviews right now?
Me?
Yeah.
So it's showing 29, but if all of them would be there, I'd have over 40. Like I'd probably have about 45, but they literally have been disappearing, even ones that were older. But maybe because they were people who didn't do other reviews. So that, I think you may have mentioned at one point, if you've only ever done one review, that there's an odd chance that that one won't stay because it may not look like they're active
Yeah.
enough to keep the
Inactive
profile
accounts
going.
for 2 years are being
Yeah.
removed and any
And,
reviews with them. Yeah.
and that may be the case because I really didn't start asking for Google reviews until since like the last 4 years. So yeah, if they were 4 years old and they started to be inactive for 2 years, and that's probably why.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So it does it that 1 2 star brings it to a 4.9. So to your point, it how might have indirectly had some impact, right? So I'm just watching. I'm watching and waiting.
Yeah. I don't think it's too bad of a thing. It's obviously a fake one, so if it needs to stay there and it makes you a 4.9, I don't. Yeah. It's not too bad of a thing. I would still, even though logically I think it would make sense just to leave it. If it was me personally, I would still be trying to get rid of it because of my feelings. So yeah, I think the approach you're taking is perfect. All right, number 5, get 3 people to like a review or question. So if you can get 3 people, at least 3 people, to like, and actually on a review now, on some, mostly on mobile where I've seen it, you can actually leave other emojis like a heart or a fire or praying hands. And I think like a head exploding, maybe there's like 4 or 5 different emojis you can leave now. If you get 3 people to like or heart a review or to like a question, that will signal to Google, and I've heard that it pretty much dictates it will work if you do it, um, will dictate which review or questions Google showcases. So when somebody comes along your profile and they're scanning it and they come to your reviews section, it is not just automatically in chronological order. It is in some order that Google has decided, and they're showcasing 1, 2, or 3, however many are showing before you click to read more. It's choosing which ones are showcased. So if you can get at least 3 people to like a review, so if you really wanted some review talking about listings, you wanted a bunch of listing. I'm awesome at listings. I'm the listing master and the listing specialist. If you got some people to write those reviews, or you already have those types of reviews, and then get 3 people, at least 3 people, to like or heart those reviews, Google will probably start showcasing those reviews. Or if you had a bad review, a lot of times Google will showcase the one bad review you have because that's relevant and there's only one, so I'm going to showcase that one. And they want to show a true picture of the business or whatever, so they'll showcase the one bad review you have. So if you wanted to bury that, one way is just more reviews, and hopefully it maybe picks not to showcase it anymore. But also you could have people like reviews. And also, you could have people add photos to reviews, like we talked about. Google also likes to showcase reviews that have photos and videos added by customers with them as well. Um, so number 5 is have at least 3 people like a review or question question. And the same thing with the questions in your FAQ bank. They just go in there and like a question, making Google know that it was useful or helpful. And any of these actions, any actions on your Google Business Profile from a customer, clicking on anything, clicking on the product section or the updates, or liking reviews or questions, any of these actions are great signals to Google that people like what they're seeing and they're staying and they're clicking on things. So those are all, in general, just good things to happen on your Google Business Profile, people doing things. But 3 people liking a review or question will dictate that that review or question gets showcased by Google. Number 6, have people click on products and updates and click through on links. So you've heard me say that we're not trying to use the Google Business Profile as a traffic source, as a website traffic generation source. We are not trying to send people elsewhere. People came to the Google Business Profile, they typed in buyer's agent or realtor near me or realtor in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, or whatever. They already learned about what they need to do. They just came to Google to find the person to do it. So you want to keep them on your profile and everything be tailored to converting them into calling you right now and not getting sidetracked. So you always hear me say, we are not trying to send people places. Use the call now button. Do not use it as a place to try to get people to get YouTube subscribers or to try to get blog post reads or to get website traffic, to get email opt-ins or something. This is not the intent here. We do not want to do that. We want to keep people on the Google Business Profile and convert them and convince them that you searched for Carlisle Realtor. I am what you searched for, and I'm awesome and more awesome than the other people you might be clicking on. So we do not want to send people places. Having said that, clicks to things and clicks on your profile, like I said, are good signals to Google. It signals to Google that people like what they're seeing and they want more and they're interacting with your profile, which is gold. So if you can get people to click on your products and then click on your products, you can't do a call now button. There is a call button in your product section, a general call button, but there's no, or when they click on a product, there's always a call button. But when you add a link, which you should be doing, there is no call now button there. So you're adding a link there. If you can get people to click on your products and click through to your website and spend a couple minutes or a couple seconds on your website, Google's probably not really watching that part of it unless you have it set up a certain way. But have people at least click on your links and click through. That can happen in the products. That can happen in the updates if you do have updates with links, or maybe you have an open house event and you can put a link in an open house event. So that's a place people could be clicking links. You can have people click on your website, your actual website link, and go to your website. So having people click generally around on your profile and interacting with your profile and liking photo. You can also like photos, by the way, liking photos and reviews and questions and everything. You can also have them click on your products and updates and click on links and click through to your website or wherever you're sending them. Those are good signals to Google also. Again, we are not trying to do that. We do not want to do that. But it does help if people do that, if it makes sense. So we don't want people to do that because it gets them sidetracked. But it is a good signal to Google if people are interacting and clicking on your stuff. Um, so that's why I would have it kind of as a more of a purposeful thing, maybe, that you just have people do it, just like the 3 people liking a review or question. And the other things that are the bad review are things that you're going to actively have to go out and get people to do. I think the clicking through and doing all these, that this number 6 one, I would kind of strategically do. I would not formulate my Google Business Profile in such a way to get people to do those things. I still, like I said, want them to stay there and call me right damn now. But if you could purposely do it, that could be some good signals. And just doing it once doesn't help. You'd have to keep doing it on an ongoing basis, not every day, all day, but at least, every month or so, have some people click on your stuff. That combined with people organically clicking on your stuff would help a bit. Number seven, seven should probably be number 10. Have users. Yeah, I'll come back to number seven because it's a bigger one. So number seven, that's going to move down there. The new number seven is have users add photos and videos. So you heard me say that leaving a photo or a video with a review is like the gold standard of things that can happen. But people can only leave one review for you. So what if you work with somebody again, or if somebody just wants to keep hooking you up with customer love on your Google business profile? How do they do that? They can still add photos and videos. Like every time I go, not every time, but lots of times when I go to my gym, my climbing gym, I add photos and videos to their Google business profile. So consumers can ongoing add photos and videos to your Google business profile. Obviously, you want to make sure they are ones that relate to your business, have houses or depict the right things, or maybe are testimonial videos or something that obviously is relevant and makes sense to be in there. But if you can get people to add more photos and videos, both with their review, but over time and over again, that is also gold. Again, Google loves input and content and feedback from customers. Stuff that we do to optimize our profiles is great, and we want to do all those things. But if we can get others to do things, that's gold. It shows Google that like people really, really like this business. They are actively going out of their way to leave reviews, to take photos and videos of the business, and then go there and share it with the public. So that is a huge signal to Google. Plus, you want videos and photos of your business. You want your photos section to be robust also. So if you can get other people contributing to it, all the better. Number no, the old number 9, the new number 8 is get all your local citations in order. Citations basically are directories: Yelp, Rate My Agent, Experience, Bing, Places, Apple Connect, yada yada. So your local citations they call it in the SEO world. You want to have all those on point. So Google seeing you across the internet in other places is important, and Google wants to see you having a good standing on other places, even your Facebook business page. They'll pull in your reviews from there, your Zillow, industry sites, whatever main industry site there is for your business. They want to see you on there and having a good standing on there. For us, obviously, it's Zillow and Realtor.com and Redfin and Homes.com and all those places. I mentioned Rate My Agent, Experience.com, I guess. Experience is one that I keep seeing more and more now. Yelp is a big directory. Bing Places and Apple Connect would be the two biggest directories other than Google Business Profile as far as business business directories. Bing Places, it's just like a Google Business Profile on Bing, and Apple Business Connect is Google Business Profile basically on Apple's system, their own thing. And both of those are free to set up, and you can sync them with your Google Business Profile if you go to those places. It's pretty easy. There's a few little extra optimizations you could do as well on both of those. But I would encourage everybody to get on Bing Places and Apple Connect as well, and you might get some business out of it. I never have, but maybe. And the more Apple Connect gets used and gets more, because it's somewhat new, the more it gets used by Apple users, maybe it'll become more relevant. But Bing Places and Apple Connect, you definitely want to be on those, but also Yelp, Experience, Rate My Agent, Zillow, your Facebook business page. And then there are a million other ones, the yellow pages, the white pages, I'm trying to think of some others. There are literally thousands of directories. You could actually put yourself on like the native Honda GPS map or the native GPS software on BMWs as like a place when you drive past it. If somebody's looking at their screen, there would be a little icon there with McDonald's and then Derek Bixler Realtor or whatever. So you can even get your stuff on all like in the thousands, literally thousands of different directories and citation places. Um, However, you need special software in order to get absolutely everywhere. Like I've got a software where I can kind of click a button and put it all those places. But new studies have shown then being in all the thousands of them doesn't necessarily help you, but being on the strategic biggest ones that Google cares about and gives a lot of clout to does matter. Plus, if you put it on thousands of them and then you stopped paying your agency or stopped paying for the service that did that, next time you have an update, you won't be able to update all those places. And now you're going to have to re up a subscription to then change all those thousands of places you need to update or whatever. So I don't recommend any more putting yourself on every single the thousands or however many directories there are out there, but I do definitely recommend, both for Google's sake and for possibly you get found there and get business from its sake, on the major directories. So all the industry sites, your Zillow, your Realtor.com, you're kind of on those by default by connecting via the multi-list. But you go to all those places, make sure the headshot is exactly the same. Like I like it to be exactly the same. It looks really professional when somebody goes to all your property or all your online properties and everything is exactly the same or really, really, really close. The headshot's exactly the same. The banner image is pretty similar. The phone number is exactly the same. The phone number and the location and the name are how Google figures out and associates it with you. So if you have the wrong phone number or a different phone number and the name is not similar enough and the location and or the location is different, Google might not recognize that as you and then give you your brownie points for you being on that directory on Yelp or on Bing Places or Apple Connect or Rate My Agent or Facebook business page or whatever. So you want to have all your local citations in order. You don't need to be on the thousands and hundreds of them, but you do need to be on all the major ones, and Bing Places and Apple Business Connect being the other two major kind of similar to Google Business Profile places. Uh, for instance, on my Zillow, I'm with EXP now, and my office is 2 hours away in Philly, and I cannot change that on Zillow. It dictates what it says on there, and now my Google Business Profile does not pull in my Zillow reviews onto my Google Business Profile. It only pulls in my Facebook ones, at least last time I checked. Because I believe it is because it does not have the same location. Everywhere else, I can dictate the location that it says, uh, but on Zillow, I cannot do anything. So my Zillow reviews have disappeared off of my Google Business Profile. My reviews did not disappear on Zillow. Google is not pulling them in anymore because it's not similar enough, I think. So, and it annoys me enough that I'm about to move my broker office, or I was trying to find a satellite office. I think they have some satellite offices closer or something, but oh, my other headphones just died. All right. Yes, so have all your local citations in order. Number 9, do rank tracking and competitor analysis. So typically when somebody first comes to me, we don't do rank tracking. We don't pull it up and use all my fancy tools to see where they rank from this place or this place, yada, yada, because typically they don't rank yet or they don't rank high enough to be spending the time to care about that. Right now, we need to concentrate with optimizing the crap out of it and then doing the ongoing best practices for a period of time, months, 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year. It depends how fast or how fast you work on it and do the ongoing best practices and build up your reviews, etc. But at some point, when you get to say maybe 50 reviews and you're consistently getting them, and you seem to be like, I'm actually getting a call or two every once in a while from my Google Business Profile, and you're humming along pretty well, that would be the time to start tracking your ranking. There are lots of different ways to track your ranking, but that's when you would actually start looking a little bit deeper in it and using a little bit more data and tracking your ranking and being more purposeful about your competitors, who your competitors are, beating your competitors. I like to even identify a couple competitors. At 3 miles, I dominate within 5 miles of my location, but at mile 7, Johnny Smith starts beating me in the rankings, and then figure out why. Or is it the reviews? Is it because now that searcher is closer to Johnny? It doesn't mean you can't beat him out. You can. It's a little bit harder, but you start identifying certain competitors and doing more competitor analysis, which could also include, obviously it includes stalking them and just looking at their stuff, seeing what they're doing, and then doing it better, and beating them. But also it could possibly, and I would do this very sparingly because Google doesn't like people that do this willy nilly either. But you could report people. There are forms. It's called a redressal form, a special form that you can put in with Google to basically report wrongdoing from a Google business profile if they are super spammy in their business name, or all their reviews are completely fake and bogus reviews, or what something out of compliance. And it would probably be something pretty big deal. They don't like it if people put in bad redressal forms, then it looks bad on you and they don't trust you anymore. But if something really was way out of line and they've got 800 reviews and you can tell like all these reviews are completely fake and bogus and BS, and their name is super spammy, like we do keyword stuff titles, but and a lot of times with other businesses you can't do what we do because it doesn't make sense. So if there were some things wrong and out of compliance, you can put in what's called a redressal form and report formally a business, and then Google, sometimes it can get a business unverified or suspended, or Google just makes the change on behalf to without asking the business. So you can do that also. I, again, would not do that unless it really, really is an issue. I typically don't mess with ones, even if you see one that's egregiously, terribly out of line. If they're not beating me or they're not up in the top, 1 to 10 or 1 to 5 or something, then I usually leave it alone. Here and there, I have put a redressal form in because the person they have like top realtor in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania in their name. So doing things that are really, really spammy and going too far with it. Also fake reviews and things. So I have in my own area reported one in my area. Um, if you are going to do something, you do want to do the redressal form, I think, because the redressal form will actually ding their profile. You do not want to just make a change to their profile. So you can go to any consumer can go to any Google business profile and suggest an edit. If their location pin is in the wrong place, you can move it to pretty much exactly where it is. You can suggest a change to their phone number, to their hours. If you pull up to a business and they're closed and their Google business profile said they were open, you can suggest an edit to change the hours. And then in the Google business profile dashboard on the other end, it will say to the person, there have been suggested edits from Google or other sources, whatever. Here are these suggested edits. And you pretty much have to say, okay. You could then edit it back if you wanted to, but usually you're probably going to leave it alone, especially if it's uh, correct. So you don't want to do that because that's not really a ding on the business as much. I mean, a little bit if your hours were wrong and a consumer has to update your hours, that's not a really good sign to Google, but it's not terrible. I've made changes to people's name to people where their name was like way too spammy and they were doing other things, whatever, and it actually helped that person. I kept getting emails that kept saying, "Congratulations, Derek! Your edit on Google Maps is really helping this business get noticed. It got this many extra views," and I'm like, "No." That's not my purpose was to demote them and remove all that stuff and everything. So if you're really trying to hurt the business, and again, only do it if it really is an egregious thing that the business is doing, you put in what's called an actual redressal form, and I've got the link if you ever need it, and you do it that way, and that hopefully will actually harm them or hurt them in the way that you're trying to do it, or get them suspended or correct whatever action they're taking on their thing that shouldn't be happening. So that's number 9, rank tracking and competitor analysis. And then number 10, 5 minutes left, perfect. Number 10 is website optimizations. So in my basic course and done for you package, we talk about website optimizations and basic website optimizations. I even did a room on it last week. 2 weeks ago, whenever that was, on basic website optimizations that you can do on almost any website, a KV Core site, YLopo site, a Chime website, out of the box Square website or something. Little things, optimizations you can do on your website on that will help your Google business profile. So there's some basic ones like certain keywording in your titles and your taglines and all the things that I talked about. So those are kind of basic things that I try to get people to do with their Google business profile optimization, because the website is the least known, most impactful thing for your Google business profile ranking. If your website is local SEO optimized properly, then it will increase your Google business profile ranking. That's how I got from, I was hovering at like number 5 and I couldn't get above these other people. And then I did a bunch of stuff to my website and now I'm 1, 2, maybe 3, but I'm usually in that top pack, beating people that have 800 reviews a lot of the time because of the website stuff. And most of the stuff I did was the all the basic stuff. I only did one of these ninja ones that I'm going to add here. So you would have already done the basic website optimizations that I talked about previously, and then there are some further website optimizations that you could do. Number one being what's called schema, and you don't have to remember that or try to learn how to do it. I just used a schema plugin for WordPress, so you do have to know a little bit about it, but you pretty much just have to know what it's called and then find a plugin probably in your builder, or hire somebody to do it or whatever. So it's a special code that talks to the search engines on the back end, essentially. So it's just a way to write, again, all those same keywords, Carlisle real estate agent, listing service, buyer agent services, or whatever that specific page is about. You do it for each page generally. So you have this schema written on the back end of it, and that helps tell Google exactly what that page is about. Now, Google is obviously scanning everything else on the page, but for some reason, and again, I know enough about websites to be dangerous, and I don't know all the coding and the back end things and how it works, but the schema is a kind of a back end thing that all the search engines and things are reading that tells them directly what the page is about in, I guess, somehow a different way than the content and titling of your web pages do. So schema would be a website optimization that you would do kind of on the next level. Getting backlinks and having internal links on your website would be another thing. And this is all these things I'm mentioning are basic or standard SEO optimization things. If you went to a website SEO person, these are things that they would probably be talking to you about, your backlinks and your internal links. So Google and other search engines and crawlers like to see you linking internally to your own website pages, because that shows Google that these other pages are also important. So like on my homepage, when it says my services and it says listing services, buyer services, relocation services, the button right there, the internal link, clicks to a page on my website. Again, an internal link to my listing seller's agent services page, my buying agent services page, my relocation page. And then on, say, the or on the listing page, you could have a link there talking about your staging. So you could have another page just talking about staging. And on your listing page, when it's talking about here are the services I provide: drone photography, videos, I do a live, I do open houses, I do staging. There could be that staging could be a hyperlink to go to another page that then talks about staging and talks about that more. So internal linking properly on your website, linking back and forth to pages within your website is good. And also having backlinks to your website. Backlinks are, well, you also want to have exterior links linking out to stuff, but not as much as interior links. But then you also want backlinks. Backlinks are links on other people's sites, and that tells Google that other people like your stuff and are pointing back to you and sending people back to you because you're awesome. That's what it signals to Google. So getting backlinks, an easy way of that is on all the directories. That is a way of backlinks, having your website on Facebook, on the Yelp, on Yellow Pages. I think when I go to my Google Search Console, one of my main backlinks is still like Yellow Pages or something like that. But backlinks can be things on all the directories. So that's an easy way to just have them on all that stuff. Uh, Other good backlinks for local SEO would be having your profile along with, again, your website link, your backlink on local publications or local organizations or local businesses. So if there are other businesses in your area that have good SEO authority, and you could maybe get a guest article blog on their site or something, or somehow get listed as a featured professional that we work with on their site, or however, if Google recognizes a site as having good local authority and then they see you on it with a backlink going back to you, that is a good signal to Google. Also, sites like if you join the local chambers, all the local chambers have good local authority usually with Google. So if you pay your $500 to join the chamber. Around here, I'd have to join 3 or 4 of them, but still, a lot of times you get an email list with that too, so you get something out of that also. But having links on all those types of site, local publications and organizations, links back to you can also help your local association. Um, if there are newspapers near you. Here there are one, two, three, I would say. One big one. So if you can get an article or just somehow get in the newspaper or media and PR and having a link back to you on that kind of stuff, that would probably be in my area. Those are probably the best. And in a lot of areas, there's also a business journal in my area. And those are ones that they're always looking for stories. So if you just find the right department and you have some story that relates, they're always looking for fodder. Um, so that might be a way you can get in there. Also, with commercial, if you do any commercial deals in the business section, they will publish press releases. So when I don't do very much anymore, but I've done a ton of commercial in my life. And every time I do a commercial deal, the standard protocol is to do a press release. This business has just leased X number of square feet at address from landlord. Derek Bixler represented the tenant, and John Smith represented the landlord in the transaction. And it would at least have just that information. Sometimes you can get your website put in there, your contact information, possibly. Sometimes they'll let you write a blurb. Like usually we would write a blurb, and then they have the authority to edit or take out whatever they want to. But press releases is a way to do it, or just finding a way that you could get in an article. Our paper has a column called Cool Spaces in the Home and Garden section, I guess. I don't read the newspaper, nor is it. I guess it's still physical. I think there's a Sunday one that still goes out, maybe. But there's a featured homes or cool spaces. I said cool spaces, and if you have a cool property for sale, really unique. One time I had a former ski lodge. The ski mountain had been shut down. This was a lodge that had been turned into a house slash photography studio, and it was on a really nice property with a pond, and it had a lot of history. So we were able to get it in cool spaces in our local. I guess it was a business. No, it's the newspaper for that. Um, you can sometimes get in there. So there might be some kind of column that is recurring that you might be able to get into as well. So backlinks and internal links would be a website optimization and ongoing work too. Getting backlinks and yeah, internal links are somewhat easy. You can control that and do that, but getting backlinks is kind of an ongoing thing that a lot of times you would hire somebody to do a bunch right away, but then ongoing they would probably be trying to continue to get you backlinks in different places, and keep going with that. And then the third thing I have here under website optimization is content trees. So you hear a lot of times about people that saying you need to blog and write more words, and yes, that is good. But also, I have heard that blog posts are the place that content goes to die. So Google wants relative and popular stuff. It wants to show things to people that are popular and relevant and also current. And if your blog post, if no one's clicking on it and it's really not getting any traffic, there are no signals to Google that this blog post or this information is really awesome and we should keep showing it to people when they search for this thing, if you're not doing that over time, your blog post just gets deeper and deeper. Everything's dated, and it just goes deeper and deeper and has no authority, doesn't help with anything, and it just gets lost in the mix and really doesn't do much of anything. I think it does have some merit, and more words on your website is better than less, blah blah blah. But I've heard a number of people saying that blog posts are the place where content goes to die if people are not giving Google the signals that it is popular. So they didn't say not to write stuff, but if you're going to write something and you really want to make sure that Google knows that it's important and it's scanning it all the time and it's maybe showing it to people, you would want to have the thing put in an actual main menu or a main menu drop down and internal link to it also. And you would do that and create a content tree. And you could do this with blog posts to a content tree, but essentially a content tree is the overarching page. So, for instance, on mine, it would be, say, the listing services page or whatever. I think I call it seller's agent services because that's what Google calls it on Google Business Profile. But anyway, my listing services page. So you could think of that as the top part of the tree or the bottom part of the tree, well, the start of the tree, and it's going to branch out from there. Um, Sorry, my phone was ringing there. Just debated answering it. My other phone, which is my bat phone, would be an ad maybe. I'm not going to answer it. I lost my screen. Content trees. Yeah. So the listing page would be the start of this content tree, and then on that listing page, and obviously that's on my home page, a link to that, an internal link to that listing page. It's also in my main menu, listing services. So it has a lot of prominence, and Google says this page is important to this website. Then on the listing services page, everything I talk about, like I said, with the staging line item, with the drone photography line item, with uh, contract negotiation, with all the different things that you list and talk about on that page, you would have those little, like when it says staging, you would literally have that staging would be the blue type with the line under it, like you see in blog posts. If they mention something, a lot of times you can click on the thing and go to another article that then talks further about that thing. That's what a content tree is. And when you do that, it shows Google that there's, well, number one, you have lots of text and stuff about this topic, but also shows to Google that all these things are important, especially when they start at this main thing that's in your main menu, yada, yada. So doing content trees is a big thing that will help your content get noticed, and will help your keywords stick out and help you start to rank, even your website actually rank. Like these things that I'm talking about now with the backlinks, the schema, the content trees, if you do all these things, this will actually help your website itself rank, not just your Google business profile. It'll help your Google business profile for sure, but it'll probably, after a while, if you kept doing these things ongoing, it would probably help your actual websites to start ranking locally. So content trees, or another content tree example would be, um, and I'm starting this myself. So when you scan my homepage again, you get to service areas. And then under service areas, there's Carlisle, Boiling Springs, blah, blah, blah. Carlisle being the first one and the main one I'm trying to target. And then if you click on the photos, right now they all just go to a KV Core home search for that area. But eventually, the slow going, ongoing thing is that if you click on Carlisle, it's going to take you to a page about Carlisle, talking about Carlisle, which might also have a link to go search for homes, but it's going to be like about Carlisle, more of an overview, like a living in snapshot of Carlisle, the weather, the things to do, different neighborhoods, kind of a bunch of different bullet points. And then I would talk about all those things a little bit on that page, but then I would link out to a page about all those things, like a dedicated page about the different neighborhoods, a dedicated page about the weather, a dedicated page about the whatever. So essentially, all the same videos that you would make on a Living in YouTube channel, those could also be blog posts, and actually, you could embed those videos. Would be awesome. Um, you could those same that same content could be blog articles that are a content tree coming from that route, kind of service areas, Carlisle, and then it just expands from there, from that route, or like with the listing services, it expands from there, from the route out to all the different branches talking about that one thing. Um, and if you keep it dialed in, talking about all routing back to this one thing, I'm trying to rank for Carlisle realtor, Carlisle real estate agent. So the more I reinforce and emphasize that root Carlisle area, and listing services, or the things that I want to rank for, the more I reinforce it, the more I'm going to rank for those terms. So number 10, website optimizations. After that basic stuff, you want to do your schema, your backlinking, your internal linking, and start writing more content, and doing content trees specifically, not just content that's one-offs. Each one is its own and none of them connect. You want all of your blog posts and all your content to be strategic in your planning and in their linking to each other. Any questions about the website optimizations? Is that Chinese?
Well, I mean, I just want you to go back to how you spell schema. Like, I may not be hearing exactly how you're saying it, so if I want to follow up and look into that a little bit more, like that integration of it, like how do you spell that? Is it an acronym or what is it?
It is, and I don't know what it's. I don't think it's an acronym, but it is Shema if you actually said it phonetically or how it's spelled. So SCHEMA. Schema markup is probably, or something like that would come up, and there's schema markup auto generators in WordPress. I pay for a plugin in WordPress called All-in-One SEO, and it's not super expensive. I think it was maybe $100 or something. Not super expensive. It gives a bunch of SEO tools, but then also gives a free schema generator. So you kind of pick, this is the kind of schema I want. There are different types, like you could have a service page schema, or reviews schema, or there's a bunch of different types. So, and it's somewhat intuitive if you pay for the builder thing. If you were heady and knew all the things, then you would, developers kind of put it in the back end in the code somehow, I think. But most people just use some kind of plugin or schema generation tool.
And I have
And
another
that,
question if nobody else does.
yeah, go for it.
All right, so in one of your recommendations was to have perhaps somebody else like your reviews, even if that wasn't the one they gave, but consider trying that to optimize it maybe. So I had asked somebody, and she did sent me a video how she could not do it on the desktop. In other words, she searched in Google a window and then tried to like it on there, and she showed me that it goes right back to the business page without being at the review page anymore. So I told her to try it on her phone. She's trying it now. I don't know if that makes a difference or if you know of that being an issue. Is it better just to do it mobile if you're asking anyone to do you that favor?
Yeah, in general, everything's better on mobile, but I definitely, with the reviews, I'm trying to look right now, with the review
And she just
liking and
texted
stuff.
that, yeah, she just tried to like the reviews on the mobile device, looking me up in Google, and can't click the like buttons, a little thumbs up.
Huh, that's weird. So I just went on mobile. So Google Maps specifically is where they would be able to do the fire, the hands, the different emojis. On my phone, at least, on my phone and desktop in the browser, it only gives a like or a helpful button. But on the actual Google Maps app, that's where they would find the heart, praying hands, fire, yummy face, and head explosion ones. So maybe use the Google Maps app.
Okay, I'll see if that works. I'll try it with someone else. Maybe that's a good idea
Or
for us all. If we're review exchanging, maybe go into someone's business profile from the maps and see if you can like some other reviews as another way of helping support this to see if it works slash and these reviews don't go away.
yeah, totally. Yeah. And that's part of my, indirectly, I guess, that's part of my, the best practice to get the review to show up, obviously, that we've talked about before, that you've heard me say a million times, is interact with the profile, click on the stuff. before you leave a review, because if you just go there and leave a review and Google doesn't have a record of you interacting with that business, they might block the review because, hey, you've never interacted with that business. So that could be one of the things you do when you're poking around, clicking on photos, and you can like photos also. And I would guess, I've never heard anybody say it with the photos. I've only heard them say it with reviews and questions, but I would venture to guess that if people liked or hearted your photos 3+ times, it would probably cause those to be showcased as well, because the photos that Google shows on your profile are not necessarily in chronological order. They're in whatever Google order, whatever they dictate or choose.
Derek, good morning. Quick question. So, going off of what Peggy was saying, I try to go to her profile and do the review, and it'll only let you do the review. So, I wonder if the link that we're sending, I can't even click the back button or actually look at her profile to interact with it. So, should we maybe adjust the link that we're sending to people, and instead of just going straight to the review, maybe send them our Google profile page? Because mine literally same thing. It takes straight to the review, but you can't interact with anything, or you can't even see their profile to look at their pictures or anything. Do you think that has anything to do with it?
Yes. Um, so I would So no is the answer to the question, I guess. I would not, like I said earlier, I would not overcomplicate it with asking for reviews. The second you get outside of click this link and leave me a review, the second you start telling the layman, the normal person or customer, like, hey, just search me, go here, then click reviews, then find it and do this and that. The more complicated it gets, the less it's going to happen. So path of least resistance to convert more and get people to actually do the action. Some ultimate answer is probably no, don't overcomplicate it. But like we were talking about today, if you already got your systems in place and you're already the bomb at generally asking for reviews and getting reviews, and now you're trying to go the extra ninja step to start getting the optimal best reviews, kind of, and going a step further, then maybe you would start doing things like that. Or if you were having a lot of trouble with no reviews are showing up, I'm getting reviews and none are ever showing up, and that this isn't the answer to everybody. There could be other issues if that's the case, but if that was the case and it happened to you a lot, then maybe you would try to go the more complicated, use the actual Google Maps app on your phone, interact with the profile first, wait a day or so, then go back to it, then leave the review, and then maybe even it seems like now you need to go back after it again and interact with the profile. Sometimes that can get the review to stick or show up after the fact if you interact with the profile. So ultimately, I'd say just keep it simple. But if you are on that next level, or you have reasons, or you just want to try it for whatever reason, um, yeah, you could do that. Some people have also, so you could, there are different levels. You could send people your review request link, which obviously sends them right to your your review thing. So they just right there, click 5 stars, write it. You could also send people your general Google business profile link. So you click the general share button on your Google business profile, you take that link and send that to people. And that'd be pretty easy too. Most people are smart enough to be able to click on the reviews button and then click 5 stars and do it. So that wouldn't be too bad. And then the next thing that some people tried, and I don't know whether it works or not or helps. I've never heard an actual guru say it or promote it. I've only heard, TikToky kind of just people saying it out there, which is why I've never said it. But I've heard people say, so you go to Google, do a search for yourself, Derek Bixler, realtor, and then click enter, let the results populate, and then you copy the link that from the results. So that big long ass Google kind of search, Derek plus Bixler plus realtor dash 856712 query, blah, whatever it says, that big long ass link from the search, you send that link to people. And you could shorten it in Bitly or use a website or a URL or something, but you could shorten that link, but essentially send them that search results link so that when they click on that link, it's as if they searched for you, which is a better signal to Google. If somebody goes to search and searches directly for you and then clicks on your stuff, and that those are all awesome signals. Somebody purposely came to Google to look for you, and then they liked what they saw. So that's the theory, that when you send people that link, they will click on it. And to Google, it's as if they Googled your name. And if your Google business profile is optimized like it should be, then it should be right at the top of the search results, and they can click on there and give you a review. So that would be kind of the next step back. Easy way to send people there if you wanted to try that as well. Again, I don't quite completely believe that. I understand why, and it makes sense, and maybe it's true, but I've never heard a person that I trust. And like, there's a few people, when I hear them say a thing, then I trust it, and I don't usually before I hear them, or if it comes straight from Google or something. So um, I would say keep it simple, don't overcomplicate it. But if you're ready for that next step, you could try those other things. Anybody else have any questions or follow-ups to anything I've mentioned today? Cool. All right. So I will run through these again and we'll close out the room. So, next level ninja tricks. After you have created and verified your profile, optimized the crap out of it, and you have all your ongoing best practices dialed in and humming, four of them being reviews, adding photos, posting updates, and adding products over time. Those four things on an ongoing basis. Once you have dialed all those things in and you're doing well with those, there are 10 other things that you can do. Optimal review getting those reviews that we just talked about. Strategic bad reviews. 360 video if you have a physical location. Add FAQs in the Q&A section. Get at least three people to like a review or a question or a photo also. And I think those are the only things you can like: photos, reviews, questions. Yeah. But get three or more people to like those things in order to showcase them and get more people to see them. Have people click on your products and updates and click through on your links. Um, Number 7, have users add photos and videos over time. Again, they can keep adding them over time, more photos and more videos. And number 8, be on all your local citations, be on Rate My Agent, Experience, Bing Places, Apple Business Connect, Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, all those places that we talked about, and make sure they are all congruent and the same, and Google can figure out that that's you on all those places. Number 9, rank tracking and competitor analysis and possible reporting of bad actors if needed. And then number 10, which is probably the most impactful thing, that schema that I talked about, that Peggy asked about, that was the thing that really put me over the edge, and my keywords that I show up for on my Google business profile exploded, and I started dominating the Carlisle realtor, Carlisle real estate agent, even Pennsylvania real estate agent. I have to kind of tone down my use of the word Pennsylvania in all my stuff, because I rank for people far like in other states just searching for a Pennsylvania realtor, because I'm physically located near the center of the state, and my SEO and everything is dialed in. So I tend to rank for that as well, which I don't necessarily want to, but the schema on the website was the thing that kind of, the other things did a little bit and I could see something happening. And then when I did the schema part, it shot me up those extra couple steps to put me in 1, 2, 3-ish place, usually depending on where you're searching from. And my keywords that I'm showing up for exploded in the hundreds. I think it even says thousands on my Google business profile. They started showing the keyword count. I think I had 2,046 keywords that I showed up for. And if you look at them, they're all good ones. They're ones that I would want to show up for. Most part, there are probably a couple crappy ones, but all good ones. So do that schema for sure if you're going to do the website. And that is it. Last call for any questions about anything I covered or any other issues, anything I didn't cover, if it brought to mind something that you're having an issue with or a question about, speak now or for a week hold your peace. All right, awesome. Thanks for being here, everybody. Yeah, you know what to do. I'm not doing an outro anymore. Replay will be there till next week. Email will go out. I'm actually ahead of schedule. Got my email ready to send almost immediately when we get out of here. So email will come with the replay if you want the replay there. It'll also be in my social media and everywhere else. And thanks for everybody for being here. And have a good hump day. And I can't find my music. I wish I had that ready to go. I wish I could play real music too. See you, everybody.